Well, Pamela's going to introduce herself, but one of the reasons we asked Pamela to come along today was because she's relatively newly diagnosed. You've been diagnosed within the last 4 years. And I suppose over those 4 years, Pamela has leaned into some of the services that we offer, some of the other services that have been available through the HSE, and she's generally just a great person. So what I might get you to start off by doing is just maybe tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we might talk about your MS diagnosis when you're ready.
Yeah. I was diagnosed with during COVID with MS, so that was March 2021. Had a stressful few years coming up to it, to be honest, and work had gotten stressful, and seeing that can be a trigger. Kind of hit me out of the blue, and I decided then I'm going to reassess my life and whatever else I'm doing. So I left my job and trained as an SNA, and now I work 2.5 days a week, and I think that has helped hugely because I'm surrounded by kids, and sure, kids are great. Who doesn't love a banter with kids, and I get paid for driving kids mad, which is even better. So it has helped a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what led up to your diagnosis?
As I said, I had a stressful few years. I had 3 kids through secondary school, and that can be its own stresses, but there's also work, in fairness, had gotten very stressful, and I kind of felt at the time I need to stop, I need something to change, and then all of a sudden I got MS. I didn't really want that, but it did help me, in fairness, to kind of reassess things, because I'm trying to cut back stress since, and live a little bit more mindfully, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you speak to us a little bit about when you got your diagnosis and maybe some of the symptoms that you were experiencing, or why you went about thinking this might be something? Did you think it was MS? What did you think?
Yeah, first symptom I had really was my right leg just went a bit dead. I was looking at it going, are you actually there? I had a few silly falls over things, and I was quite dizzy. So I rang my GP in the middle of COVID, and she said, I need to see you. And I went, right. So I went into her, and she said, we need a neurologist. And I went, oh, this can't be good. But I went for an MRI. They came back and said that everything was clear and that it was a sinusitis thing. And I said, okay, fair enough. So I took the antibiotics, and I got to see the neurologist and brought the MRI with me. And the neurologist said, well, I'm glad you brought this because it's actually 2 lesions on your brain. It doesn't look like cancer, but we rule out MS. I didn't realise he knew it was MS at that point. He brought me in then for all the tests, and we ran through everything, and we came back, and yeah, it was MS.
So relatively sudden in terms of the lead into it?
From probably October, November to March.
Okay.
So in fairness, I was lucky I was diagnosed fast.
Okay. And what were your initial feelings about getting a diagnosis? Sarah would have spoken about sometimes there's relief, sometimes there's that's great, but what am I dealing with now?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Mixture of everything. Do you know when you Google and they say don't go to Dr. Google? We all go to Dr. Google. Dr. Google had the option of MS or motor neuron disease or brain tumour, and I went, I'll take MS. That's what it's going to be. I'm going to take it.
Pick a mix.
I'll have that. So when he said MS, I went, okay, I can live with that. My cousin has MS as well, so I'd seen like he has 20 years and he's doing relatively well. So I just thought, okay, it won't kill me. Don't put it that way. So we'll get there. Fine. Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about maybe some of the challenges that it's presented?
Yeah.
So you're 4 years in?
Yeah. And as we were talking about at the table, if we had a good response for the "but you're looking great" comment, we could do with it. It's, in one sense, it's very hard because externally you look well, and sometimes I have that bit of guilt of I can't be shook because I look well, and people expect more of me. Do you know that kind of way? And you kind of think I've no excuse for feeling terrible, but you do, because inside your body is zapping every which way, and you're tired and you're tingling and you're numb and you're dizzy and exhausted all the time. So you have to kind of be kind to yourself in that sense and say, okay, do something for yourself. Be nice and say, okay, don't expect this much of yourself, and sit back a bit, and like that mindfulness and all these things are really, really important. And that being said, I say I'm doing it and I try and do it, but I fail miserably most of the time. But I don't beat myself up over it.
You're aware that it's there if you need it.
Exactly, yeah.
In terms of, like, you have a busy household, your mother, your grandmother, you've got lots going on, you're working. How do you communicate some of your needs to people who are used to you being a doer and your mum fixes that and mum does all that?
In fairness, my family are great and they all rally around me and what can I do for you? Some days they forget, but some days I forget too, so that's okay. If I am exhausted and I can't do any more, I just either go to bed or I sit down and I say, right lads, I'm done. There's no more in me today, so work away yourselves, and they do. And in fairness, my poor husband is the same, because he cooks dinner for me the days I'm working. He does the housework, he does everything, and he never complains, so he's like, I'd be lost without him.
But that would have been a shift from how things would have happened.
He would have always
before.
done a fair amount before, because he worked evenings, I worked days. So he always had that much done, but he's doing so much more now, it's great.
And it's about communicating that.
It's about communicating that, yeah.
We have quite a few people here today that are relatively newly diagnosed. If you were to give your newly diagnosed self some advice, what would you say to her?
I would say be very kind to her, because if to somebody else you'd say the kindest things possible, and when it's yourself you say, what are you doing, why can't you do this? Remind yourself that you're only human and you'll get through this. As I said, and we shouldn't minimise it, but you could have a lot of things worse. Hopefully we live with it for a long time without much, whatever, disability and mobility is. I kind of find a lot that I can feel my mobility slipping a bit, and some days it worries me and other days I go, it'll be okay and we'll take it as we go. And it's about kind of balancing that and reminding yourself that it's not the end of the world and that you can get through this.
And there's a piece as well about maybe allowing yourself to go when, you know, you had said things are slipping a little bit, and then we had a conversation and it was like maybe a physio referral.
Yes.
So rather than leaving it accumulate and sure, that's the way it is, sometimes it's still okay to go, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I've done the Move Smart, and I liaise with the local physio and I try and do as much exercise as possible. And then you have that thing of, am I over-exercising? Am I exercising enough? Am I resting enough? Am I mindful enough? There's a lot of things to be trying to remember to do. And, you know, trying it, like I sometimes I beat myself up because I go, I should do this, I should do that, I should do that. No. I'll do what I can do this week. And if I can't do it, that's okay. And try and remind yourself of the good things you have around you every day.
Okay.
You know.
You spoke there about Move Smart, which is our national physio programme that's done online. You've done the mindfulness course that we ran regionally. You've been to the care centre for a break.
Yeah.
You've leaned into a lot of the services that we provide. Was there ever a time where you were shy about doing that, or thinking that's for other people, or is that really for me? Or
yeah, I think at the very start, before I made the first phone call to you, that was August, I think. So I'd been diagnosed in March, and I had heard that there was community workers and get involved, and I thought, oh, I can't make that phone call. What am I going to say? What does she think? What am I going to do? And I literally sat in the car the day I rang you and I went, no, I can't do it. And then I went, just do it. So I rang you, and it was the best thing I ever did, because in fairness, you've tied me in with all of these services, and the support you've given me has been huge, and I really appreciate it. It's great to know when you're talking to somebody that they can tie you in with, like the people in the room here today. Like I've met people here today and never met them before, and just we've clicked. Do you know, it's a lovely support group, and it's lovely to be able to meet people. And as we can say, you sit in a room and you say, I'm not different. We're all the same. Everybody understands. When you said that comment about you, but you look great, the whole room laughed, because we all feel the same. Do you know, the MS centre as well, or the respite centre as well, I really hesitated over that one. That's for people that are in wheelchairs, and maybe I shouldn't go. And the first day I went, I sat in there and I went, oh my God, what am I doing? And I looked around me, and like, there was older people, there was younger people, and there was people that needed help with their feeding, which I hadn't seen before, and I kind of thought, oh God, what am I doing? And then we got talking to people, and you realise everyone's on the same journey, and everyone is there to support you, and you're there to support them. And the last time I went, my second time going, we had the best week ever. There was drinking going on late at night now. But you know, you had that support from everybody, and we all left there. And 5 or 6 of us said, we're coming as the same group next year, because we just had such good crack. So I think that kind of support, and to allow yourself to accept that, is huge.
And while in the care centre, did you avail of any of the MS nurse, the physio? Because some people don't know anything about the care centre. It isn't all about the crack.
No,
there is crack, but there's some other form of bits that happen as well.
No, they came with the list the first day when you check in, and they say, right, well, we have the jacuzzi bath, which everyone was raving about here today. I did get stuck in it, so wear your bikini and ask for help getting out.
And does that go for the men as well, or just the
well, whichever, you know, everyone's their own. They did yoga, they did mindfulness. The EMS nurse is exceptional up there, she's fabulous, and like that makes you feel normal and supported. There was the physio, Ailish is amazing, and well worth it. Everything that was there, I said, yeah, put me down for everything.
So you embraced the whole lot?
Yes.
The last thing I'm going to talk to you about is the Tipperary branch. So most of the counties in the region have branches that are usually made up of people with MS or their families. I suppose the branch offers a different type of service to what community workers offer, but we work together with you. Can you tell people a little bit about what you've gotten from the branch before you were hooked into the committee? What it offered and why you might tap in there.
I'm one of these people who's a firm believer in if you're taking things, you need to give something back, and always did. So I was on every committee that was ever known to man as I went through life. I got so much. I just thought from the support I got from Dee and the branch. And the branch was struggling at the time when we were trying to get back up and running, and this kind lady said to me, sure, you will do a job. Which I said yes. But it's really good because it includes you more in your local branch and your area, and you get to meet people, and we organise our coffee mornings and our social events and all the rest of it. But I think you get more from it than you give, because every time you go out you meet these lovely people, you get to have your conversations, you can be open and frank with everybody, and Dee comes along every now and again to say hello to us as well, and like you can answer questions to other people. I just think it's a lovely thing to have, and it's a lovely thing to be involved in.
If there's people in the room that are a little bit shy maybe around engaging with service or kind of dipping your toe in to see is it for you, what would you say?
Come along for a great crack. It's very informal. There's no massive, like we come to meetings. No, and we don't have agenda. Well, we have kind of a loose agenda, do you know? But we come and we just meet up, and it's basically what can we do, what do we need to do, who can we help. That's what it is. We just support.
So my very last question to you is: you're 4 years down the road from diagnosis. Is there any practical advice in terms of day to day, in terms of how you manage your MS? You know, we were talking earlier about sometimes you have good days, sometimes not so good, either physically or psychologically or both. What kind of, you spoke a little bit about mindfulness and physical activity, but and the busyness of life. So how do you keep that?
Biggest and the best advice I got, which I'm still trying to take, is to take a nap every day if you can. Some days I take it, some days I don't. It's well worth having that rest, or even if you haven't time to take a nap, sit down, put your feet up for 20 minutes or half an hour. Sometimes between, like when you're in the middle of doing dinner, sit down while things are simmering, read a book for a while, close your eyes for a while. The other thing I did struggle a bit with was I got the activator walking poles just to help my balance when I'm out and about, and there was that kind of thing of, can I be seen out in public with sticks? Am I that bad? Do they think I'm a fraud? Some people say to me, where are you going with those sticks? Are you going hiking? And you're kind of going to heaven right. But don't feel bad about having to use these things, because when you need them, they're there to make your life easier. When I go out for a walk with those walking poles, I can walk for probably half an hour even, no problem. When I don't have them, I can't feel my feet, so I'm afraid I'll fall, and my walking is funny, and just use whatever support you can get, and don't beat yourself up over it.
Was there anything else that you wanted to say today that we haven't covered that you?